Hi, I'm Pabu Redfeather, and I'm a doll collector extraordinaire. I've been collecting dolls all my life, mostly Barbie. I do collect other fashion dolls. I collect action figures and dolls of all different time periods and makes. And over my 55 years of collecting, I have about 40,000 dolls. So it's really been a long time collecting, and I'm kind of an expert on collecting. So anyway, I wanted to review the Black Barbie movie that came out recently, and I was thrilled that it came out and it told the story about Kitty Black Perkins and Beulah, mostly Beulah. I met Beulah back in the 70s. I used to go down to Mattel, and she was always there. So anyway, I had met her like in the toy store, and we just got along. And she was like a grandmother to me. I mean, just a wonderful person. And she says, "Oh, anytime you come down here, come and stop and say hi to me." So I did. I used to go down to the Mattel store and go shopping and stuff, and I'd stop in and see Beulah. She was always up at the front area. And I actually met her in the store. That was where I met her at. And we just got along really well. So anyway, about the movie. So it was really fun to hear like her beginnings, like working on the Barbie line and working with Ruth and stuff, and then learning about some of the other people that I wasn't aware of, like the black woman that did the hair and stuff like that. I wasn't aware of that. Um, my first convention I went to, Barbie convention, was in 1984, and it was in New York. It was called Barbie Loves New York. So I was excited. I found out about it. Ruth Kronk was doing a news about the convention in New York. So I looked her name up in the telephone book, and come to find out, she lived in the Bronx. I'm from Westchester County, so didn't live that far from her. I wasn't in the Bronx. I was in the New Rochelle area. But anyway, I called her, and I ended up talking to her for 3 hours on the phone. And then she passed me over to her daughter, and I talked to her daughter for 3 hours. So anyway, she sent me the application for the Barbie convention, so I went. So one of my first days when I was walking around the convention, this beautiful black woman came up to me and started talking, and I was like, oh, she was gorgeous. And she introduced herself, and it was Kitty Black Perkins. So she says, "Oh, do you mind if I can, ask you a few questions?" And I said, "Okay." So we hung around about 2 hours, just walking around, and she asked me did I like what I liked and what I didn't like, and then I had told her, I said, "You guys need to put a put a mustache on the black kin." I said, "Because most black guys wear mustaches." So later on, some of the black Kens came out and they had mustaches on. So that was one of my little things. My other thing was um, I was campaigning for a Diana Ross doll. That was my big thing. And on the Barbie board, my screen name was Diana Ross because I was trying to send them a message. And I wrote Diana Ross a letter, sent it to her home address and her business address, saying, "Please let Mattel make a doll of you." Um, I said, because they're the best. And Diana Ross has something about things being the best. So in 2003, I was invited to join the Barbie CAP, which is the Collector Advisory Panel. And when we got over to, we went, we were there for like 2 days. We did the whole design thing. As soon as we got to the woman that was painting the face, she turned around and showed me the Diana Ross head, and then turned her picture and showed me the picture. And I screamed, and everybody was all clapping, and they were all excited. All of my top people were really happy. So I think they kind of wanted me there. And I said, oh, I want this head. And they were like, 2004, 2004. And they had given me tickets to go to the Dream Halloween, where Diana Ross was at the Dream Halloween. So Mattel gave me 2 tickets. So that was really fun. And then I have met Diana Ross before. And so, then Kitty was telling me that she designed the black Barbie because she was also a Diana Ross fan. And she said the black Barbie was inspired by Diana Ross. So that was kind of neat. And so it was really fun. So, okay, so I wanted to tell you one thing about that. A lot of the girls in that movie were saying, oh, there wasn't any dolls that looked like me. Well, that's not true. In 1965, the Ideal Company came out with a black fashion doll. Well, they came out with a white one too in '62. It was a white doll called Tammy, and she was a fashion doll. And in 1965, they came out with a black one. So that was out on the market. Also, back in the days of the popularity of the beginning of Barbie, there was a company called Unita. They made a knockoff Barbie. They looked like the ponytail Barbie. It was a little bit cheaper quality, but it was something that people could afford. They also made a black one, and that one was around too. So there were other companies that did knockoff fashion dolls back in those days. And, unless these people were living in the country somewhere, they probably didn't see the dolls. But Madame Alexander had black fashion dolls, in her line. Most of them were baby dolls, but some of them were like little girl kind of dolls, but some of them were a little bit on the more fashion side. So black dolls have been made since Africa. I mean, Africa had black dolls, but a lot of times they were used for ceremonies or teaching. But the kids used to play with them and they appreciate them too. And over in England, black dolls were very popular. And I have talked to people who were white who said, "Oh, I had a black doll when I was a kid," because it was very much appreciated. And the dolls were really dark skinned with more ethnic features. Not like America where they tried to make it lighter skin, or they were playing with the rag dolls, which look like mammies, or they look like they came out with during the slavery days. Those little black kids weren't allowed to have dolls, only white dolls. But they would made the topsy-turvy where you could turn it inside out, and the dress would cover it and be a black doll, and you could turn it inside out and it'd be a white doll. So that was kind of a way that they would have those kind of dolls that would, be there for the black kids to play with. Now, I was friends with Lenore Holt back in New York. She lived in Brooklyn. I mean, she lived in Harlem, and she owned a doll museum. And I found out about her accidentally, and I called her. So she invited me to come over to the museum. So I went down to Harlem, went to the museum, and we were talking dolls. She had dolls that were made by slaves, and she actually let me hold one. And, they were all handmade, and she had several of them, probably about 5 of them. And so I got to see that. So some people were coming in, so she says, "Oh, do you want to give the people a tour?" I said, "Oh, okay." So I was giving them a tour of the museum because I knew about all the different dolls from different time periods and stuff. So I would go down there like almost like every weekend, just like one day a week, like on Saturday, and I would give people tours of her museum while she was, getting other things done. But what a lot of people didn't know about her was she says, "I'm going to show you my private collection." So she owned like a brownstone house, apartment, like it was like a, several floors. We got into the elevator and went to the top floor. When we got to the top floor, she had, um, she says, "No, you're not going to believe this." When the door opened, there were shelves with thousands, I mean thousands, of teapots, plates, and cups, and washing bowls. And she says, "You see this stuff?" She says, "This stuff was when the white people first came to the Americas." She owned all that. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. But later on, when she passed away, her nephew got the collection, and he basically got rid of the collection. So, but she was kind of a mentor to me, and she was kind of grandmothery, like but it was wonderful knowing her. So it's fun to get to know doll people, and there's a lot of doll people now. I remember when I went to my first Black Barbie convention, there were only like maybe four or five people of color, and one of them was a Japanese woman, and the other one were black, and that was it. It was everybody else was white, you know. But that was the time. Mothers didn't spend a lot of money for dolls back in those days because people had a hard time. They couldn't afford it. And, it was more important buying clothes and things for school. That was the more important thing. Because I remember hearing mothers saying, no, I can't get that for you. That's too expensive. You've got to get new clothes. And maybe they might have gotten one toy or maybe one doll, but it wasn't anything that was very expensive or elaborate. It was more the dime store doll type thing. And those dime stores, they knocked off all kinds of dolls, including Barbie. There's so many clone Barbies around, and there are black clone Barbies too. And they still do it to this day. There are still clone dolls popping out all over the place. The Barbies today are knocked off by, the China and all those different countries are knocking off the dolls and stuff. And that's just the way it is, and it's business and it's money, and every company knocks off what the next company is doing because that's the trend that they jump on. It's hard to get something that's like uniquely original. So I met an artist named Floyd Bell. He makes hand-carved wooden dolls. They are absolutely fantastic. He even did a Barbie-type doll, a fashion doll. So that was kind of neat to see. And he sculpted a puppet they used in the movie Pinocchio. So he showed me that. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. Well, anyway, I just wanted to give you that little bit of review about the movie. I thought it was good. I was in it. They did interview me for the movie, but it ended up in what they call the director's cut, which I haven't seen because they haven't posted it so I can see it. So what can you do? Now you can ask nicely, oh, please put it on YouTube or something, but I guess the director just deleted my comments. So anyway, I just want to encourage you, if you haven't seen it, see it because it's good. But just know, most of the people that were in there was only one person I recognized as a collector. All the rest of them were just worked in the movie business, or I had to laugh when Maxine Waters was like, there were no black dolls. That's not true. There were black dolls back then. So that's absolutely not true. And you'll see it if you go to people's museums or collections, you'll see black dolls. And there were black dolls here. And there were black dolls in different countries too. They just, the Caribbeans, and like I said, England did black dolls. And some of the ones in England had very beautiful black dolls. And they had beautiful clothing and stuff. And they were basically like the white dolls, but black. And they even had Native American dolls. So anyway, just do a little research and enjoy the movie. All right. Well, thanks for talking to you, and have a good evening.